Rev up your engines! Alright, everybody knows I hate Volkswagens, but here's a Volkswagen that I actually don't hate because it is a bird or Volkswagen of a different color. It is a 2012 TDI. It's a diesel, it's a manual transmission, and it's made in Deutschland, not in Mexico. He's the original owner. It now has 131,000 miles. Basically, he's changed the oil and filter, and he did have the timing belt and water pump changed because it is an interference engine and it's a rubber timing belt. Now, Volkswagen kind of ripped them off on that because, as you can see, he had the timing belt changed and the water pump at 129,439 miles. But they kind of ripped them off. Now, a couple years ago, he priced out what the timing belt water pump was going to be. It was $900 at the dealer. But when he had it done, they hit him up for $2,300. So they charged him an awful lot of money to do a job like that. All the local mechanics here in Rhode Island, they wouldn't touch it because it's a Volkswagen diesel, and that's a problem. Now, interestingly enough, this was one of those Dieselgate Volkswagens where they cheated on the software. Now, originally, he got 49 to 50 miles a gallon on the highway. Now he's getting more like 40 because they had to change the software and everything so that they didn't pollute, which means they get worse gas mileage. But on the other hand, they had to pay him a bunch of money. They had to fix the Dieselgate. And even though he's getting 9 to 10 miles a gallon worse gas mileage, it still runs perfectly fine. And he loves the vehicle. See, he takes care of it. Look, he polishes it all the time. And he is somebody who likes diesels. And as most Americans don't like diesels either, Americans won't like this either. It's a 6-speed manual transmission. Now, since 96% of Americans only drive automatic cars, there's not much of a market for this car. But if you want a car like this, if you can find a TDI that's got manual transmission, you don't mind driving a diesel, you like driving a standard transmission, these things can basically last forever. Even though the maintenance is high, you saw you had to pay $2,300 for a water pump and timing belt. But also be warned about the modern Volkswagen diesels. This one's 12 years old. The modern ones have fancy catalytic systems you got to replace every so many miles. That also costs a fortune. The older ones, hey, they can run forever. The newer ones, the engines can run forever, but they are going to nickel and dime you. Only instead of nickel and dimes, you'll be $50 and $100 bills thrown in buckets to pay for the maintenance of them because they have so much computerized crap on the newer ones. Now, as you can see, well, it's a typical Golf. It's got a nice interior, and it's got a back seat. It's okay, not particularly large, but when you flip it down, he uses it to carry stuff. It's got a lot of room for carrying in the back. As he lives up north, yeah, the salt eats up the alloy wheels. They don't leak or anything, but of course they don't look as good as they did. The body certainly was rust-proofed well because it's not rotting through like the old Volkswagens did. So we're gonna get my fancy scan tool. We're gonna go through the whole thing. He was getting some check engine lights on, and we'll see what's happening. Now, we got our hotel set up here. It's already read it, knows it's a Volkswagen. We'll do a standalone diagnosis. It's a Golf USA Canada. Vehicle engine, it's a diesel. And now it's loading. As you can see, it's got a nice media screen. Now the top is turning into an Arabic tent. That's typical with Volkswagens. There's that problem with those things coming down. You can stick it up if you want. And we'll go through a full topology scan. Here we go. It's going to scan everything. And as we're looking around, we can see there's the emergency brake, a real one, 6-speed standard transmission. It's a nicely set up car. The system, so far it's found 6 trouble codes. He didn't have any running problems, but this was one of those Dieselgate ones, and they often have pollution control problems, so we'll check that out. It's all done, there's 7 codes, so we'll start over here. The engine control module, charge air cooler efficiency below threshold, sensor signal stuck, rich bank, sensor 1. Probably got a little bit of a problem with the intake air temperature sensor. Here we go, there's the code. Circuit range performance, faulty circuits, loose corroded harness, faulty intake air temperature sensor, or faulty ECM. They're very complex. We can go through the whole system if you want. That car's running okay. He just wants to know what it is. We will look at the data though when we run it. And we'll erase them all before our road test to see if it's hard, see if anything comes back. We got electronic central control, and the code is activation for tank flap. Short circuit to ground. Faulty, but it's sporadic. Maybe it needs a new bulb. Realize these have the ground fault system that the ground isn't right or the bulb's not right. It'll trip those codes for intermittent problem. Turn on the headlights and they work. Who really cares one way or the other? Kind of stupid radio codes. He said the radio works okay, but we'll see what the codes for the radio are. The tuner is not enabled or activated. Whoa. We'll erase that one too. This one here, some telephone. Who would think it'd be troubleshooting telephones in cars, but cell phone prep head, emergency call module, mechanical malfunction. Well, we all got cell phones, so who cares? We'll erase that too. What we really want to do is look at live running data. So we will go to the ECM, the engine control module, start her up. Cold day, but the diesel starts right up. And we will look at live data. It's got everything. Fuel pressure, injection quantity. Remember, black is good, red is bad. It tells you the start injection quantity. Realize when you start a car, it needs a little more fuel when it's cold to start up. It even gives you that. So if there's a problem with starting your car, you can check this stuff out right away. Now that code for intake air temperature, you can see it says the intake air is 56.7. So according to my Google calculator, that's 134.6 degrees Fahrenheit. It's presently 41 degrees here in Rhode Island. So the intake air temperature sensor is giving wrong data. You can replace it. I mean, he says it runs good enough. He doesn't care. But if he wanted to, he could change the intake air temperature sensor. It's saying it's that hot. It certainly isn't. I just love analyzing this stuff without having to get my hands dirty. Just reading all this data. That's why this Autel scan tool blows me away. All this information just by sitting here. Now we'll take it for a road test, see if any of those codes come back. You can see it's got a lot of miles, 131,000 miles, and he's the original owner. So it's too old to have a backup camera. We'll look in the mirror. Now I do have to say, for a diesel, look at this. Baby, smooth as can be. It doesn't shake at all. Now it is a relatively low car. So we're gonna go slow over my big water dam here on the road. And it is a relatively short wheelbase car, so we'll see how it rides on the bumpy roads of Rhode Island. We'll hit some bumps. Not bad, considering it's still got the original struts and everything on it. Rides a lot better than my Matrix does. Goes over the bumps pretty good still. And of course, it's a Volkswagen. These things are fun to drive. They're zippy, they handle quite well. Here comes the big test. The diesel acceleration test. Right? No one's there, no one there. Here we go. Not that bad, really. For a diesel, it's got a lot of zip to it. I'm kind of shocked. Realize, though, it is a 6-speed manual transmission. It's not an automatic. It does have decent zip. It corners quite well. It's a fun little car to drive around. We'll try climbing up a little hill here. Here we go. And, hey, got some zip. Real smooth shifting. That 6-speed is smooth as silk. I gotta say, I'm pleasantly surprised by how zippy it is. Now, he used to get 49, 50 miles a gallon on the highway. Now he only gets 40 after Dieselgate changed the car. But still, hey, you know, pretty good gas mileage for something that's as zippy as this thing is. And now we'll check it out. Well, look, none of the codes came back, so it's nothing serious. So there you have it, the truth about a Volkswagen Golf. Just realize there's quite a few things going on here that actually make it a good car. Numero uno, it was made in Deutschland. It was built in Germany. It is a 6-speed manual transmission, not an automatic. It is a turbo diesel before the real modern ones that have all kinds of problems. I would not buy a late model Volkswagen TDI. They have too many problems with all their complex electronics and anti-pollution control, the catalytic converter system. All that stuff costs a fortune to maintain. But this old thing, the only thing that he got ripped off in was having to pay $2,300 to change the timing belt and the water pump. That was it in 12 years and 130-something thousand miles of driving. So, hey, I said something good about Volkswagen? Yeah, because of all the stuff I just said. It was made in Germany. It's a manual transmission. It's a turbo diesel. And it was made in the past when they make them a lot better and a lot less complex than they are today. Now, you know, if you can find one that's good looking with that kind of miles on it, hey, snap it up. They don't make them like that anymore. When these old ones wear out, beware of buying a new one. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.